Hi, it is Dr. David Lunt here. After more than 30 years of giving warnings about future pandemics and how devastating they can be, I have been taken by surprise, as has everybody, it appears, at how devastating our recent COVID and ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has been and will continue to be. I think that as a forensic specialist, we always look for causes of death. We get called to scenes of suspicious deaths, and we look for a cause. And we do autopsies, we look for a cause. And if we find a cause, then the cause, we need to say whether it is natural or unnatural. And in the past, major events we have thought of as being natural. But we have passed that stage now. We have a huge amount of knowledge which we need to use to decide whether these are in fact natural events or whether they're unnatural events, and we have a right to expect that everybody cooperates in helping us find the truth because of the vast numbers of people who have died and been harmed in various ways. So if people are accountable, we have to hold them accountable. That doesn't mean that we have to be draconian about it in dealing with them, but we do need to make sure that they are aware of what they've done and rehabilitated so that they do not do it again. And where it is people who have made lots of money out of it, we need to use some of that money in order to prevent this happening again. Perhaps holding people accountable is the best way to prevent future pandemics. Okay. Man has evolved knowledge that allows us complete control over our environment if we act collectively. Describing disaster as natural is no longer acceptable because disastrous events are predictable, preventable, and caused by man's collective behavior. We therefore must accept collective responsibility because modern events are man-made and are related to our behavior. Man's collective health, wealth, and happiness is dependent upon our environment and protection of our human rights. Man's behaviors are mainly financially motivated, and therefore financial control of collective harmful behavior is the best way to control and rehabilitate those shown to be accountable. Industrialization is an obvious benefit to society in many ways, not least of which is employment, profit for investment, saving and development in diverse ways. Leisure, travel, sport, shopping, and social freedoms are all part of our human rights that others have died for, and we earn daily. We have to protect them. Industrial pollution, including private car fumes and our own contribution to pollution, cannot be allowed to harm our health. Financial measures can be implemented and used to reverse climate change. We all need to participate and accept responsibility for our actions. There are many other examples, the most publicized of which is energy supply. If we produce less energy than we use, our planet will achieve global cooling. It's as simple and straightforward as that. So both responsible production and utilization have to be monitored and controlled with shared financial responsibility between producer and purchaser, and which are proportional to the type of energy produced. The wake-up call of COVID-19 is the worst human global disaster any of us have experienced. It was predicted by many of us more than 30 years ago, and these warnings have been repeated continuously since. Clearly it is man-made. 80% of people believe it is, and science shows it is. Despite gallant efforts by many whom we applaud, we all need to do better, and we can. We can prevent pandemics now, and must. It is our duty to make sure that we preserve our very precious planet for our children and indeed our grandchildren and great-grandchildren, which I hope one day will be grateful for all of us having done our bit to make sure that the planet is in as good a condition when we hand it over to them as it is when we have had it handed over to us. For me, that was a long time ago, and since then a lot has changed. A lot will change in the future, but we must make sure it is all for the best. We can prevent pandemics now. Man has, I am proud to say, evolved to the stage where we can prevent pandemics now. This is reassuring, but it is not easy, nor is it something that is quickly achieved. There are many aspects to man's behaviors that need to be changed because they are multifactorial and require participation in working together and willingness to change. This we have to do, this we can do, this we must do. We must be able to hand over to future generations a better world than the one we live in now, rather than a worse world than the one we live in now. Motivation is very important in preventing pandemics now. Human rights are lost during pandemics and easily quantitated. There is nothing more motivating than participation in human rights restoration. Sadly, the most basic human right to life itself cannot be restored, and with it all other human rights are lost. The horrific global death toll is a clear and essential reason why the human rights lost needs to be taught to our global society in a motivation and participatory manner. It is requested that Prevent Pandemics Now is given a certificate and is not a sensitivity issue. It is instead the opposite. It is preventing future harms on a global scale, and we need to be able to impart this knowledge to others. Indeed, to prevent us from imparting it to others is probably a crime. Thank you. Be prepared, and you will look after your loved ones better. This is something which I was taught as a cub many, many years ago, and since then it has always stood me in good stead, and I am very lucky indeed to have loved ones around me and to be able to look after them and teach them what I have learnt in a wonderful time in medicine as a first responder and as a forensic expert witness. If you can copy, it's difficult, you might have to retype this link below into your browser. You will be taken to a series of detail which will allow you to choose whether you want to join a course which I am offering, and I hope you will join us on the course and that you can learn some of the knowledge which I wish to pass on to you. Thank you.